health care, child tax credits, child care, extending Obamacare, very, very important bill. And he just flat out announced it on Fox. He flat out announced it on Fox, didn't call Biden in advance. In fact, then when Biden got wind of it, he wouldn't take the call, blew off the call. Well, there's been a couple of developments. First of all, Wall Street, the markets have now downgraded the growth prospects of the United States in 2022 by a significant percentage. For first quarter, it was proposed. They estimated it'd be 3%, now down to 2%. Quarter two, 3.5%, down to 3%. Quarter three, the same. It impedes the growth of this country. And you don't have to be a PhD in economics to know that when people spend money, it circulates 3 or 4 times through the economy. People who are going to get the child tax credit, we're going to spend it on diapers, food, rent, clothing for their kids. The people who got that money were going to pay taxes, and then they were going to spend it and pay taxes and so forth. So it hit our growth. Okay. Secondly, the coal miners union blasted Manchin, and they supported him. He's supposedly a Democrat in West Virginia. They supported him. And they said, look, Manchin, look, Joe, this bill would have extended black lung benefits for our members. It would have extended black lung benefits for our members. It gave tax incentives to build factories, which our people are increasingly going to because coal is diminishing in share in our energy. And number 3, it would have protected union workers. For instance, the provision that provided for an extra credit for electric vehicles. There was an extra add-on for any vehicles that were produced by union workers. So he's blasted by the coal workers. He's blasted by Wall Street for reducing the growth, the estimated growth. And what did he get out of it? What did he say? But going on Fox, not even taking Joe Biden's call, he told some colleagues that on the child tax credit, that was the big thing with him. That was the bone in the throat for Joe Manchin. He said that people would spend it on drugs, and when it came to parental leave, they'd abuse it, and they would go hunting. Now, let me tell you something. That's what he said. Fancy Brian shaking his head, but that is what he said, Brian. Yeah, well, that's what he said. Okay. Well, first of all, this old canard about people who get any benefit are going to spend it on drugs, it has racial overtones, and it goes back a long way. Any government program that doesn't go to business, people say will be spent on drugs. That's a lot of bull. That's just flat out bull. All of the studies showed the tax credit, was in effect. They got their last check last Wednesday. They're not going to get one in January. They're not going to get one in February. They're not going to get one in March, et cetera. And it went to pay rent. It went to buy clothing, buy diapers. It went to buy food. A lot of these kids, you're a single mom, you have 2 kids, you're not working because you have no child care. But what are you going to do? You get evicted. There are a lot of homeless people. There are homeless people in Milwaukee. 2 people froze to death this month in Milwaukee. 2 people. One of them froze to death right near Wisconsin Avenue in the 700 block, just below the Mater's Restaurant, Old World 3rd Street. Just lay there. Nobody did a damn thing for him. Another guy froze to death in the South Side. I got to say this. You see a guy lying on the sidewalk in Milwaukee in January or in December, you know something? You call the cops. You stop. You get him somewhere warm. You don't just leave him there. One guy had no coat on at all. The other guy had a thin jacket. Well, people who can't pay rent end up homeless. Some of them. Not all of them, some of them. And there are a lot of big cities. There are a lot of homeless kids going to school. There are homeless kids going to school in Milwaukee. There are a lot of homeless kids in New York City. How do they know what school to go to? They shift around a lot. How do they do Zoom education when they had to? They have no computer and they have no place to put the computer. This guy Manchin is saying they'll spend it on drugs. That's a lot of bull. That's just plain bull. It's wrong. But that's what he said. And this business about parental leave, going hunting. Are you kidding me? Are you Kidding me? How many deer hunters? How many? Hey, Brian, how many deer hunters have we seen in Wisconsin roaming around who are on parental leave on some program? Come on.
I'm going to tell you, they're going to do that whether there's a program or not. How about that?
Right. Whether there's a program or not,
If
and good for them.
if you're a drug addict, if you're into doing drugs and you can't stop doing drugs, you're going to do it whether you get the stimulus money or not.
Right.
And I could probably make an argument that, drug money that goes into the quote unquote black market there probably stays more local than giving money to a corporation,
Well,
which
and
houses its
the
money
funny thing
overseas.
is,
But anyway,
yeah, right. No, but that's not where it's going. The vast majority, most of these people are not drug addicts and they're not buying drugs. And the
nope.
vast majority of them don't go deer hunting. And if they do go deer hunting, we in Wisconsin like that a lot because it's $1 billion industry up here. So anyway, this is just wrong. It was a very, very cruel thing for him to say. Very, very cruel thing for him to say. Now, where do we go from here? Okay, where do we go from here? Nancy Pelosi revealed that there had been a meeting previously undisclosed last Tuesday with Biden and Manchin. Biden wooed this guy. He romanced this guy. He brought him up to Delaware to show him his house. And they oohed and ahed over his house up in Delaware, where he put on like a wing of some sort. I don't know. And he thought this guy was being reasonable. He was not being reasonable, but they had a meeting on Tuesday. And in this meeting on Tuesday, Manchin gave him a written document. It wasn't verbal. It was a written document. And it said, this is what I'll support. It was $1.8 trillion. It was $1.8 trillion. And it had a lot of things. One of them it had universal pre-K. Manchin in writing a week ago, universal pre-K. For 10 years, it had an expansion of Obamacare. And 30 million people were going to benefit from that, and 3 million of them don't have medical care at all.
Hey, Matt, is this the stuff? Is this the stuff that he was complaining on Fox News?
Yeah, right.
He
Yeah.
leaked about him.
Writing to Biden last Tuesday.
These are the salacious details that they
right.
leaked about him.
Right. That's
wow.
right. And hundreds of billions, believe it or not, to combat climate change. He has a big interest in a coal company. He said that it was in a blind trust. That turned out to be false. It's not in a blind trust. But the coal workers, he's cutting their black lung benefits, and he's cutting incentives to build them factories. And, they're blasting them. But here's the deal. He opposed the green grid, the mandatory green grid, because he gets money from oil companies. However, they switched it to make it an incentive. And he, in writing, gave to Biden last Tuesday a proposal for hundreds of billions to combat climate change. The only thing it did not have was the child tax credit. He is a Jones about the child tax credit. He has a bone in the throat about the child tax credit. He keeps saying they'll spend it on drugs and, the parental leave part of this thing, they'll go hunting. Brian's right. If you hunt in Wisconsin, you're going to hunt. I don't care who you are. You're going to hunt. And if you're not a hunter, you're not going to go hunting just because parental leave. Parental leave is to take care of vulnerable little children. Yeah, vulnerable little children. So here's what the clown did. Now, Pelosi is claiming that she's going to reintroduce it in January in the House again. They're going to try to shave it down to pander to this idiot. And Schumer's, talking tough, we bad, talking tough. Biden called him Sunday night after the Fox News stabbing of his agenda. And Biden will keep working on him. The question is, I am very skeptical about the following. If they come up with a bill, if they just Xerox the sheet of paper he gave to Biden last Tuesday and pass it, would he vote for it now? Or was that a scam? Did he slip it to Biden to somehow keep his name in the press for another week or what? I don't know. They think basically if they Xerox that slip of paper, and I mean type it into a bill and pass it in the House again and the Senate with no child tax credit, that he's going to, I don't trust the guy. I don't think he will, quite frankly. He'll say something like, well, that was a week ago. I don't know. They can try it. Some of the progressives say, well, let's do it by executive action. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. There's only so much you can do by executive action, and you can't allocate funds. Congress has to raise the revenues. So there it is. There's what they're going to do. We're coming to a break. Lines are still open, 844-967-2789. A lot more back after the break.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
Sorry, I had an issue there.
Their age,
the way they speak. Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
600,000 Wisconsin families are receiving checks to help take care of their kids, thanks to the expanded child tax credit passed by Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Ron Johnson voted against these checks for Wisconsin families, despite voting for a 2017 tax break that put more money into the pockets of millionaires like himself. It's time to vote Ron Johnson out of office. MoveOn.org political action, paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Poll.moveon.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates. He would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
Is dedication?
People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike and you didn't? I just created an environment where they taught themselves and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Spruce up your home with non-toxic vegan candles from Wisco Home Goods. I'm Don, one of the owners of this family-owned Midwestern business in Madison, Wisconsin. Our candles are 100% sustainable and come in a variety of unique blends and scents that make a perfect holiday gift. Plus, at Wisco Home Goods, we believe in giving back. With our Do Good, Smell Good campaign, a portion of the proceeds go to local charities. So support a Midwestern company that supports our local communities. Order now at wiscohomegoods.com.
Malarkey. The devil's advocates invented malarkey.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Devil's Advocate. Our lines are open, 844-967-2789. We're talking about what can be done by executive action by Biden after he was betrayed by Manchin. A lot of the progressives say, oh, do it by executive action. Do it by executive action. Baloney, easier said than done. You're not going to do a lot of stuff by executive action. There's only so much you can do, but I'm going to give you some examples of what you can do. And the truth of the matter is that there's a lot he can do, but he can't raise revenue. He can't raise 1.8 trillion by executive action. That is unconstitutional. However, here's a couple of things. To send a shot over the bow of the other side in the right wing. One of them is, how about arresting and charging people who conspired to overthrow the government and the election? How about that? We're going to talk about that a little later in the show. How about that? The January 6th Commission? How about Merrick Garland indicting Donald Trump? How about him indicting Giuliani, indicting Steve Bannon? I'm not talking about contempt. I mean, two-year charge. Guy doesn't show up for a hearing. Come on. Okay, so he shows up. Let's say he takes the fifth. No, I'm talking about the felony of overthrowing the government. And here are the two statutes that apply. One of them has to do with anybody who, by action or inaction, intentionally interferes with the functions and processes of Congress, has committed a felony with a substantial jail penalty to it. Now, if the fact of the matter is that you gave a speech, you send out a save the date card to your base and you put it on Facebook and you save the date, January 6th. What's January 6th? What's that? The Feast of the Epiphany. What's January 6th? No, it's a ceremonial accepting of certifications from 50 states governors and secretaries of states, most of them who are Republicans, majority Republicans, certifying the election, certifying the election, certifying the election. And, and they show up. You say, march on the Capitol. I'm going to go with you. He lied about it. He went to the White House, and Mike Pence might do the right thing, but oh, well, if he doesn't, and they're up there, hang Mike Pence, and they build a gallows. How'd they have time to build a gallows if this was a surprise? And oh, Nancy, they're going to kill Nancy. Looks like the lines are alive, Brian. Let's go to the lines, my friend. Who's on the line?
We have our friend Dick in Madison. How you doing, man?
Dick in Madison, my friend. Thanks for calling. What's on your mind today, Dick?
A couple quick things. As far as Joe Manchin and the whole state of West Virginia, in my mind, the last good thing that came out of that state was Jerry Washington. That was a hell of a long time ago. But to Biden and Trump, there better be a contrast and real fast that the Democrats put together as to who, because people are going to start blaming Biden for this COVID, lingering. And it's totally unfair. We both know it. All of us know it. But they got to get out in front of it, in my mind. Where do you think we'd be had he been elected? Maybe 40 to 50%? And even as high as we got to, look at the problems we're having. And somebody's got to get the news out there.
You're making some good points. Yeah, I want to throw one thing in here. I'm a big fan of the people of West Virginia. I'll tell you what, here's a very little known fact. West Virginia has the highest number of people who win the Medal of Honor in the military and combat than any state. I'm talking about per capita. I mean, obviously New York and California have bigger populations, but I'm talking about West Virginia. These guys are patriots. These guys go in the military, and a bigger percentage of them per capita won the Medal of Honor than any state in the country. They don't back down. They do not back down. If somebody has to charge a machine gun nest, they do it. So these guys are solid guys, good guys, the people, men and women in that state. The problem is that Manchin, what he's done is he's teased everybody. He's done a strip tease for 5 months. He goes, oh, I may vote for it. He said back in the spring, that's what I want. Yeah, but I just want this and I want that. And I think what he did is he kept his name in the press the whole time. And his ego, his vanity kind of likes this stuff. I don't think he ever intended to vote for it. He ever intended to vote for it because at the very end, he was saying stuff like, oh, inflation. Well, why did he give a white $1.8 billion document to Joe Biden 7 days ago without the child tax credit? That's the bone in his throat. Why did he give him that if he's worried? And this thing is, all the economists say this is not going to contribute to inflation. This is going to get spent, and it's people who get the money are going to pay taxes, and it's going to keep going through the economy. And it's something we can do right now in light of our gross domestic product. We can do it. So, you're right, Dick. I mean, this guy is bad news, and his state is not bad news, but I'll tell you this guy doesn't represent Park Avenue. Am I right? He doesn't represent Fifth Avenue. He represents West Virginia, which I think after Mississippi, second only to Mississippi, has a fairly high poverty level. And there's black lung. I mean, and the co-workers union go, you cut our black lung benefits. What'd you do that for? We always supported you. We always supported you. What are you doing this for? And he does it. And you think there aren't single moms in West Virginia that could use a child tax credit and buy some diapers and clothes and food and pay rent? You think? I mean, quite a few, quite frankly. So what is his base? What, they're going to buy drugs in West Virginia? No, I don't think they are. They're going to go hunting in West Virginia? I hope so. They like to hunt, but they're going to go hunting anyway. Brian was right. They're going to go hunting anyway. So why don't you get Garland to arrest and charge Trump and Giuliani? That'd send a shot over their bow. Biden can forgive student loans. He can do it without Congress. And, set it at something reasonable. Somebody takes out too much money. No, but the first 50 grand, forgive it. He can absolutely do that. Absolutely do that. How about banning unvaccinated people from air travel? You show a vaccination card, you don't go on an airplane. How about that? And also, how about declassifying marijuana, make it a lower level deal? In other words, it's not one Schedule 1 thing, it's Schedule whatever, Schedule at the bottom. That would make it very, very low enforcement priority and a very minor offense. Do all of that. Send a shot over the bow of the right wing. Yeah, he can't raise 1.85 billion or trillion, I should say, on his own. Of course not by not by simply by executive order, but he can do some things by executive order, and he can grab Garland by the scruff of the neck. I think Garland is too timid, quite frankly, Merrick Garland. Grab him by the scruff of the neck and say, this is what you're going to do. That's what John Kennedy would have done. That's what Roosevelt would have and did have done. We're going to break. The lines are still open, 844-967-2789. A lot more back after the break.
So you get nothing. You lose.
Devil Radio, your fix for progressive talk from Middleton to Monona, always streaming at DARNWI.com.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
Wisconsin. You know that Drew Holiday and Brooke Lopez are champions on the court, but did you know they're also champions for our community?
Hey, Wisconsinites. Drew Holiday here.
And Brooke Lopez here.
I love being a champion.
And today I'm asking you to be a champion citizen.
Defend your right to vote and exercise your freedom to vote.
It's more important now than ever because politicians are trying to restrict our freedom to vote.
They're worried about our power, so they want to take it away.
Don't let them do that.
You've got to block that shot.
Paid for by the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign.
Stream progressive news and talk 24/7, as well as download exclusive podcasts and interviews at devilradio927.com. That's devilradio927.com.
Coronavirus update. I'm Ed Donahue with an AP News Minute. Stocks finished higher, the Dow up 560 points. With coronavirus cases spiking, President Biden says it will be easier to get tested.
Starting this week, the federal government will set up emergency testing sites in areas that need additional testing capacity.
The government will provide 500 million free rapid tests and increase support for hospitals. The Omicron variant is spreading quickly.
Vaccinated people who get COVID may get ill, but they're protected from severe illness and death.
The president is worried about the unvaccinated. He criticized what he called misinformation about vaccines.
These companies and personalities are making money by peddling lies and allowing misinformation that can kill their own customers and their own supporters. It's wrong. It's immoral. I call on the purveyors of these lies and misinformation to stop it.
The president emphasized his pleas are not political. I'm Ed Donahue.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. According to public records obtained by Wisconsin Public Radio, the public calendar hours for the project director that was hired to oversee the Foxconn development for the village of Mount Pleasant and the hours his firm is billing the village do not match. The Mount Pleasant village administrator consistently authorizes Claude Lois's $28,000 per month salary without further documentation than the contract Kapoor and Associates has with the village of Mount Pleasant. According to that contract, Lois does not have an official job description. On Monday, Wisconsin health officials reported there are currently more than 600 Wisconsinites in hospitals around the state that should no longer be admitted but cannot be discharged because a vast majority need to go to nursing homes or other assisted living facilities that are severely understaffed nearly 2 years into the COVID-19 pandemic. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
Welcome back to the Devil Advocates radio show. Our lines are open, 844-967-2789. Well, Trump is up to it again. The thing is, I could say that every segment of this show and every show. That's what's sad. We don't like to give him oxygen. The guy knows how to hog the news cycle, but here's what he did. And to hog the news cycle, he has sued the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James. Letitia James is a very good Attorney General. She's very tough. And she is investigating Donald Trump, and she has subpoenaed him to give a deposition in January. And January is real close, very, very close. And he does not want to give a deposition, so he sues her. He sues her. By the way, she had been a gubernatorial candidate, and she dropped out so that she could devote her time to her Attorney General duties, and especially to investigating Donald Trump. In any event, she is a tough cookie, and she is not liable to back down. Here's what the clown says in his pleadings, that whatever lawyer he used. Oh, it's unconstitutional for her to come after me. For what? Fraud? That's unconstitutional. I am aggrieved. No kidding. He said he's aggrieved. He's aggrieved. Doesn't want to give his deposition. Saying this is just like Russia. This is what he said. Now, let's parse that out. Speaking of Russia, he is Putin's slave. He was the guy in Helsinki sitting there with Putin, and somebody said to him in the press, your CIA and FBI said this man Putin here hacked into our election. And he looked at Putin. He said, well, Putin says he didn't. Why would he lie? Why wouldn't I believe him? So I believe him over the FBI and the CIA. And another guy who said the same thing, Ron Johnson, the senator from Wisconsin, said he doesn't trust the CIA and the FBI. He trusts Trump, he said. And inferentially then Putin. And Putin, by the way, was a colonel in the KGB. Putin was a communist up until Yeltsin and Gorbachev squared them away over there, got rid of communism, and had 10 years of democracy, and then Putin got back in. He
I
is
don't
still
see
in
any
his old
reason why it would
authoritarian
be.
chops. Now it's not communism, it's organized crime. He's the head of the organized crime, the government in Russia. In any event, so Trump's saying this is like Russia. Trump loves Russia. Trump tried to break NATO. He said he might withdraw us from NATO. No kidding. Withdraw us from the treaty with NATO. He attacked the EU, mercilessly attacked the EU. Called the Prime Minister of Britain, called the Chancellor of Germany, and insulted them to their face. Told Angela Merkel she was weak and stupid. He used those words. Theresa May, who was the Prime Minister in the UK, they were weak and stupid, and she got very rattled by it. As President of the United States, he does have nuclear weapons. He's an idiot. And so this is the kind of stuff, and he's attacking us like Russia. Excuse me. He is the Russia. He is the Russian guy. That's why Moscow Mitch is called Moscow Mitch. The whole party caved to Russia. However, what about unconstitutional and aggrieved? That's a lot of baloney too. First of all, I practiced law for, 40 years. And those of you who are out there are lawyers, and even if you're not, if you just have any interest in the law at all, if you are under investigation by a prosecutor, could be the Attorney General, could be a DA, it could be a U.S. attorney, you don't get an injunction to have them stop looking at you. You don't get to say, nobody here but us chickens, boss. Nobody here but us chickens, boss. We didn't do nothing wrong. We didn't do anything. How do you think that goes over? And why is he doing it? If they indict him, criminally charge him, prosecute him, he can bring what's called a motion to dismiss. Say it's wrong. He can say whatever he wants. It's not going to work. And if they want his deposition while they're investigating him, he can bring a motion for protective order, go to a court in the proper fashion. The reason he is doing this is to delay. Everything he does is to delay. Remember something. The people who were subpoenaed to come in front of Congress back during the Ukraine impeachment a couple of years ago, nothing happened to them. Nothing happened to them, and it's still tied up in court. And the same thing that's going on right now with the January 6th committee. The whole idea in the January 6th committee is try to hold on until they think the Republicans are going to win in 2022 in November and be sworn in January. I don't think they are. I am one who believes they are not. We can talk about that in another show. But right now, if Kevin McCarthy were the speaker, God forbid, and Steve Scalise were the majority leader, God forbid, they would withdraw all those subpoenas in a second. And that's why those people are not showing up or pleading the fifth and doing all this kind of stuff, delay. And there's that. But with Letitia James, she's not going anywhere, and she's going to get reelected in 2022. She's very good. But all he's trying to do is delay. Delay helps the defense. That's an old adage. It's very, very true. Delay helps the defense. You know, witnesses move away, people forget, that kind of stuff. But what she's looking for is some very specific stuff. And what the prosecutor in New York are looking for are very specific things. It turns out they have a lot of documents, and they have testimony from Trump's accountant, and he apparently submitted different valuations to the government for tax purposes and to the banks to get loans. If you own a property, let's say you own a property that's worth $1 million, and you want a loan on it, you're going to say it's worth $1 million. You may puff it up and say it's worth $2 million based on some offer, who knows what. But if you want it when the government wants to value it for tax purposes, guys like Trump will say it's only worth $100,000. They don't want to pay a lot of taxes. Now, if you have too much of a spread, that becomes fraud. You have to be very careful. If you do things, for instance, like say, this is what I think and so on, and maybe you can sneak out of it. But if you start putting in valuations that are wildly inconsistent, that is a criminal offense. That can be a criminal offense. So they're looking at him for that. His accountants now are squealing, saying that he lied to them. And this is great. You know, for lawyer accountants, oh, my client lied to me, that's why I committed a crime. Come on. However, that's what they're doing. And so it's a dog's breakfast. That's what's happening with this guy. And there's a lot of other things as well. And he's now suing the attorney general, saying what she is doing is unconstitutional. He's aggrieved. Apparently his feelings are hurt. It's like Russia. Oh, really? Is it like Putin? Or I thought you liked Putin. Oh, no, Putin's good, he says. It's like Russia. Like what? Dostoevsky and Pushkin and Mussorgsky and Tchaikovsky? That was the last time Russia did anything decent, and that was in the 19th century. You know, what do you mean by Russia? This guy is out of his mind. This is not going to go anywhere, but it takes a while to brief it. It takes a while, then he gets to appeal. Then their high court is called the Court of Appeals. Everybody else in the country calls their high court the Supreme Court. Their highest court is called the Court of Appeals. It goes to them. What I would like to do is send a message to them right now, if they're listening, and they're not, but somebody can tell them, listen, guys, don't give him oxygen. Don't let him delay. The minute that this thing hits your desk, deny it. You can deny it as frivolous. You can deny it before there's a contrary filing by the other side. Deny it. Absolutely deny it. But that is what he has done. It's all delay, and because he loves to play the victim and he loves publicity, and that's what he's getting out of this. Speaking of him, and again, why give him oxygen? Because he keeps doing these things, and you deserve to know it, as outrageous as they are. You heard the other day, he was at a rally down there in Texas, and he said he just got a booster shot, and he got booed. No, don't do it. Don't do it. A booster shot. No, don't do it. Well, this is very funny. In September, he said he wouldn't get a booster shot. And when he got vaccinated, he didn't tell anybody until a few weeks after he left the White House. This guy is schizophrenic on boosters and all this stuff. Sometimes he says he does it. Sometimes he says he does it. Reminds me of the Fox News hosts, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity. They've both been vaccinated. Why do I say that? Because Fox News, Murdoch put out a memo in the newsroom, said, you will get vaccinated or you'll be fired. So they got vaccinated. Then they go on the air throwing shade on vaccinations, saying they might be bad for you. You might die. And nobody calls them on this. I'm calling them on it. But with Trump, he got called by Maggie Haberman, who's a New York Times reporter. One of his spokespeople said, Maggie goes, hey, in September, he said he wouldn't get one. Now he's boasting about it and he got booed. What's going on here? What is with this guy? He wrote a handwritten note to Maggie Haberman, a handwritten note, and he asked her to publicize it. And he did. He did. She did publicize it. Here's the note. He says, I am very proud to have produced 3 vaccines so quickly. That's what he said. Now, he's talking about Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, okay? But here's the larger issue, and something I've said before on shows. If I had been Donald Trump, first of all, I wouldn't have been Donald Trump, but if I were, it would have been a lot different deal. However, he was out of his mind not to boast about fighting the virus. He was out of his mind not to say, which is true, that he started a thing called Warp Speed, Operation Warp Speed. And he put a lot of money into Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, government money, sort of like they did back in 2009 after the meltdown. Remember, in the car industry, put a lot of money in. And what he also did was he gave them a purchase guarantee program. So they knew he was going to help fund it. They had a market for it that was inviolable. It's a guarantee from the federal government. Now, he didn't invent this stuff. This stuff had been in development for decades, 20 years. You know why it's COVID-19? Because it happened in 2019. There's a COVID-18, COVID-17, COVID-16. This kind of virus mutates, and it didn't kill folks before in the way it does COVID-19. So the idiot, if I do Operation Warp Speed, I'm the president, and they come out with a vaccine that quickly, and the election was in November. They didn't really come out until December. I would have boasted about it till hell froze over, 7 ways from Sunday. I would have boasted about it. I would say, we got to fight this. And I'm going to be the first guy doing the vaccine on TV. If he had done that, and he hadn't been blackmailed by Putin because of the Steele video, which I believe was absolutely accurate, that he's on a pervert video in a Moscow hotel room, and he was funded by Putin and by his predecessors, organized crime in Russia, for a long, long time. Eric Trump said that to a journalist. We get our money from Russia because we've defrauded so many New York banks. Nobody will give us any money anymore. If it hadn't been for that, and even with that, if he had just fought the virus. But you know what he does is he gets COVID. He makes the Secret Service drive him around in a sealed car, infecting the secrets. A lot of those guys got COVID, you know. A lot of those guys got COVID. There was a guy who was an aide in the White House who lost a leg. Did you know that? With COVID, you know, some people die. You know, some people have to be on an iron lung and all that, the ventilator. Some people had part of their leg amputated. Look it up. And that was one of the people that worked. That's what he cares about, the guys that work for him. So this guy now is suddenly going, I'm proud to have produced these vaccines. Well, yeah. First of all, he didn't produce them. Somebody else did. But yeah, he put in Operation Warp Speed. Yeah, he did. And he put in a lot of money to those companies. Yeah, he did. And he gave them a purchase guarantee. We're going to buy hundreds of millions of your stuff. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to then give it for free to people. He did all that. And now he's telling Maggie Haberman this in a handwritten note in 2021. Hey, dude, the election was November of 2020. The election was November of 2020. And this is what happens. I mean, my God. And so, you know, there you have it with him. There's not much more you can say. He does this stuff. He sues Letitia James. It's not going to work in New York. It's not going to work in New York. And yet he says it late to just get publicity. He's floundering around. Everybody involved with him is a mess. Everybody's involved with a mess. You know that Bannon now is referred for criminal prosecution for contempt. Meadows was going to blow it off. Then he goes in and pleads the fifth. He's going to plead the fifth. Alex Jones, you know that Alex Jones, that other idiot? I mean, he's a real right-wing nut, a really, truly right-wing nut, vicious as hell. This guy is going to take the fifth when he gives a deposition, just like Roger Stone. His deposition is January 10. Look for Alex Jones to take the fifth, just like Roger Stone. I will not answer on the grounds that it might incriminate me because I am involved with Donald Trump. Going to a break. The lines are still open, 844-967-2789. A lot more back after the break.
If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth
How
Amendment?
could your wife think there's a 1% chance you were with prostitutes peeing on each other?
We've all felt left out. And for people who move to this country, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
600,000 Wisconsin families are receiving checks to help take care of their kids thanks to the expanded child tax credit passed by Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Ron Johnson voted against these checks for Wisconsin families despite voting for a 2017 tax break that put more money into the pockets of millionaires like himself. It's time to vote Ron Johnson out of office. MoveOn.org political action, paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertisement. Poll.moveon.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Hi, Don from Wisco Home Goods here. Jeremy and I handcraft our 100% non-toxic candles from locally sourced materials in our Madison, Wisconsin facility. Wisco Home Goods candles come in a variety of unique blends and scents that you're sure to love. Add a little warmth to your home as the days get colder with one of our Midnight Cypress or Up North candles. Order at wiscohomegoods.com. Natural, healthy, nourishing candles and more at wiscohomegoods.com.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance, reminding you that when you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstead of the Monaco Brewing Company, and I'm excited to announce our new beer, AOC IPA. This IPA pays homage to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a champion of the progressive movement. AOC IPA will be available by Monday, December 20th, right before Christmas. Check our website, MonacoBrewingCompany.com, to see which stores in your area are carrying it.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for the 99%.
Welcome back to Devil Advocates radio show. Line's still open, 844-967-2789. We're going right to the lines. Brian, who do we have on the line?
First up, we got CJ in Madison. Let me pull up here. CJ, you are on the air.
Yes. Thank you guys for taking my call. I don't always say it, but I do appreciate that you take dissenting views. I guess I don't quite understand the focus and the obsession with Donald Trump. Personally, even if he did run, it's 3 years away. And the suspicion about the vaccine, Kamala and President Biden started that suspicion by saying if the vaccine came from Trump's administration, they wouldn't take it. So they helped the suspicion of the vaccines. And I guess I'm curious, if you were to, as far as Build Back Better, if you were to buy a car and it took 10 years to pay for it, but you could only use it for 1 to 3 years, would you buy that car? And Joe Manchin says, no, thank God. He knows how to run a checkbook. And this will break not only our children, but our grandchildren. This is craziness with inflation. So I'm so proud of him for standing up, because there's actually 51 senators that are voting against Build Back Better.
Right. Yeah, no, CJ, I like having you call in. You've called into Matt Flynn Direct on occasion too. I like that a lot. I like dissenting views, but I do want to correct the record here. You put in a lot of things, and I want to unpack them. First of all, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris didn't refuse to get vaccinated. Joe Biden got the first vaccination on public TV in December. I didn't get mine. You didn't get yours probably till January at the earliest. But early on, you could get it, and he got it right away. He didn't wait for 100 million people to get it, to see what happened to him. So he did. Kamala Harris got vaccinated as well. Secondly, when it comes to Manchin, this business about, thank God for him, and the 51 people and all that kind of stuff. The truth of the matter is, he presented a written document to Biden last Tuesday. And it had everything in it except for the child tax credit. He didn't like the child tax credit. And he said things like that to colleagues, which I thought was very poor, saying that people who got it by drugs, that's not true. Every indication is that the vast majority of people that get it bought clothing, food, diapers, rent, paid rent and all that kind of stuff, and quite necessary. So, there's all of that. And overall, as far as Trump, I do not have a fixation on Trump personally. The guy is, if Trump were not in politics doing the stuff he's doing, he'd be an engaging guy to talk to. But here's the problem. He in Helsinki said that he didn't trust our CIA and FBI, but he said he trusted Putin. That's wrong. Putin's a murderer. Putin's a communist murderer who now is the second career in organized crime. That's just wrong. The second thing is he ginned up the insurrection. He convinced a lot of very good people that there was something wrong with the vote, and they went up there. 5 people got killed. A woman got trampled to death. A cop almost got trampled. The cops were beaten. They were beaten. They were beaten up. And a woman got shot. A police officer had a shooter. She was breaking in, and he said he was going to lead them there, and he did not lead them there. He went back to the White House and he sat, chortling at the television. And when people called up and said, stop it, even his own family, he said no. He said no. And people got hurt, and he didn't back him up. He should have backed him up if he was going to do something like that. So anyway, look, CJ, you and I are never going to convince each other, but I think it's very important to have dialogue. I welcome calls from Republicans, and I appreciate it very much. Thanks for calling. Brian, do we have anybody else or no?
Yeah, we got Gene from Eau Claire calling in.
Okay, Gene from Eau Claire. My friend, thanks for calling. What's on your mind today?
2 comments. First, I have to comment to CJ. Hey, we're suffering in our state. We're going through spending taxpayer dollars, lots of money, on an investigation on our election due to a plane ride with Trump by boss. So, we got a lot to complain about in our state about Trump and his tribe. So we're upset about it. We care about our state. We care about our taxes. And we care about people who lie, that they get what's coming to them. And hopefully Trump will be imprisoned for all the damage he's caused. Anyway, I wanted to bring something up. They said, how you said that Trump said he got a vaccine. Well, it's very interesting, because before he said he got that vaccine, the House Oversight Committee is doing a report on Trump administration's response to COVID, and it's not very pretty. And I recommend everybody take a look at it, how he kept people from telling the public what the heck was going on and how bad this pandemic was. So you might want to check that out, sir, because, I think maybe you're not getting very good information. Thanks,
no,
guys.
that's very good. And don't get me wrong, on Trump, what I'm saying is what I would have done if I were he. He attacked Dr. Fauci all the time. Dr. Fauci has death threats. He's attacked vaccines. He's attacked masks. He attacks testing. That's what the House is getting at. They're not attacking the fact that there was Operation Warp Speed and that he put money into it and that he gave them a guarantee purchase agreement. That's not what they're attacking. They're attacking of the execution. He did that, and then he turned around and he revved up his base not to get vaccinated, not to mask, not to get tested, and then attacks the scientists that did it. The guy, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. I mean, you'd have to be a psychiatrist to tell you what's wrong with the guy. But Gene, you're right on the money. I always appreciate your calls. Thank you very much. Absolutely right on the money. And to CJ, I just want to go back with one thing, and this was alluded to by Gene of Eau Claire. You talk about somebody's prudent with tax dollars. The hiring of Gableman for $676,000, which is now going up, and his tribe of conspirators to go around and basically cast doubt on our elections, that's tax money. But Trump and everybody, they make money off it. They're grifters. What they end up doing is they say, send me money so we can stop the steal. Send me money so we can stop the steal. And now why isn't Gableman being paid out of the money they raised? He's being paid out of my tax dollars and your tax dollars. And that's wrong. Remember, Walker, $4.5 billion to Foxconn. It was a scam. and he turned down $1 billion in Medicaid money and $1 billion in train money, and then try to make up for it with state tax money and some of that. The Republicans can't be trusted with money. They're no good with money. They do whatever they can to funnel it to their donors. Whatever they can to funnel it to their donors. Foxconn, trains, Medicaid, Gableman, it's all bad. We're going to a break. Lines are still open, 844-967-2789. A lot more back after the break.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
It is absolutely 150% your fault.
I don't see any reason why.
This is Chad Spate. Are you thinking about improving or expanding your home? At Chad's Design Build, we're committed to making your home comfortable, healthy, attractive, durable, and sustainable. In fact, those commitments spell our name. And we deliver these services with our outstanding team of professionals who will respect you and your home. Visit our website at chadsdesignbuild.com to learn more about how we are building a better world, one remodeled home at a time.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates. He would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
You are listening to WTTN 1580 AM Columbus, W224 EG Madison, always streaming on the Devil Radio app.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Coronavirus case numbers are rising again.
We're ready. We'll get through this. As we head into the holidays, I want us to all keep the faith.
At the White House, President Biden announced new measures to deal with surging cases of the Omicron variant. The government will provide 500 million free rapid tests and increase support for hospitals under strain. The president again pushed for the need to get vaccinated.
If you are vaccinated and follow the precautions that we all know well, you should feel comfortable celebrating Christmas and the holidays as you planned.
He pointed out the difference between vaccinated and unvaccinated.
Vaccinated people who get COVID may get ill, but they're protected from severe illness and death.
The president says it's Americans' patriotic duty to get vaccinated. President Biden was also asked about failure to reach a deal with West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin on his $2 trillion domestic policy initiative.
Senator Manchin and I are going to get something done.
Manchin announced he would not support the bill as is. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio says he's committed to keeping the city open as it grapples with yet another spike in coronavirus cases.
What we're seeing so far from Omicron is a very fast upsurge and then goes back down again. It's based on what we've seen in other parts of the world.
De Blasio says he can't see schools and businesses close again like they did when the virus first hit the city in 2020. De Blasio's successor, Eric Adams, postponed his inauguration ceremony, which was scheduled for January 1st indoors at Brooklyn's King's Theater. The jury weighing the case of the suburban Minneapolis police officer who shot and killed black driver Dante Wright worked through its second day of deliberations without any hint of progress they might have made. It was a signal that investors were feeling a little more optimistic about the economy. Stocks finished higher, the Dow up 560 points. This is AP News. The White House.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hear history as it happens, only on Devil Radio 92.7 FM.
Knucklehead CBD and Vapes isn't just Wisconsin's go-to destination for the best deals from Milwaukee to Madison. It's also your one-stop shop to wrap up your holiday shopping this giving season. Whether it's for family, friends, neighbors, work gift exchanges, or for yourself, Knuckleheads has the perfect stocking stuffer and tree treasures for you and your wallet. There's buy one, get one, 25% off all CBD and Wellness Plus. Buy 2 cigars, get the third free, 25% off apparel, and so much more. And get a free stocking stuffer with any purchase over $50. Knuckleheads, 520 State Street in Madison.
Wisconsin, you know that Drew Holiday and Brooke Lopez are champions on the court, but did you know they're also champions for our community?
Hey, Wisconsinites, Drew Holiday here. And Brooke Lopez here. I love being a champion. And today I'm asking you to be a champion citizen. Defend your right to vote and exercise your freedom to vote. It's more important now than ever because politicians are trying to restrict our freedom to vote. They're worried about our power, so they want to take it away. Don't let them do that. You've got to block that shot.
Paid for by the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign.
Hey, this is Rocker, and I'm back on the patio at Salvatore's Tomato Pies on East Wash. I'm having a brand new cocktail you just have to try. It's called Divide and Concord. It features Rocker vodka along with Concord grape, thyme, St. Elizabeth's dram, and a touch of lemon lime. Ask for it by name, Divide and Concord at Salvatore's Tomato Pies. Find Rocker vodka and Rocker rye whiskey at Vic Pierce on Sherman Avenue. Please drink responsibly.
You know what? I'll tell you something. There's nothing better than a hot sausage, couple 2-3 cold beers, and Devil Radio on a box.
For Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. On Monday, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services announced a health advisory encouraging all Wisconsinites to wear a face mask when indoors to get vaccinated against COVID-19 and recommended smaller holiday gatherings this year. The statement was an advisory, not an order, because conservative lawmakers and special interest groups sued throughout 2020 to limit Governor Tony Evers and the Department of Health Services' ability to address the pandemic without action from the Republican-led state legislature. Last week, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos said there is nothing the legislature could do to address the stress the state's hospitals are currently facing due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Yesterday, the Department of Health Services reported 1,660 current COVID-19 hospitalizations. Sunshine with slight cloud coverage throughout the day with winds from 10 to 20 miles an hour and a high of 34 degrees. Mostly clear skies expected this evening with an overnight low of 13 degrees. You're listening to Devil Radio.
Devil Radio programming is produced live in the Solidarity Realty Studios. Find them at solidarityrealty.com. Solidarity Realty. There is an alternative.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 1. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil Advocates Radio Show. I'm Matt Flynn, filling in for Crudy while he's gone. Broadcasting from Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM and carrying live to our friends in Chicago and Minneapolis. Our lines are open, 844-967-2789. No subject is off limits. All points of view are welcome. We're going to go right back to the front lines of history in the making, and there is a blockbuster. New York Times article just came out. It looks like the January 6th commission is going to refer some people to Merrick Garland for criminal prosecution. And I'm not talking small change. I'm not talking contempt for not showing up at a deposition or at a hearing. I'm talking about very serious felonies. And there are two of them in particular that the sources say they're considering. One of them is wire fraud. Many people don't know this, but wire fraud, phone fraud is actually very, very easy to charge because it's very, very general. And once you're enmeshed in that criminal process, there's a lot of heat on you to plead guilty, because if you go to a jury and it takes a bad bounce, you're going to go to prison a long time. What's the wire fraud? What's the wire fraud they're looking at? Republicans raising money off of a stolen election that they knew wasn't stolen. If you raise money and you say something in raising it that is false, that is really false, not just puffery, you have committed wire fraud. If you do it by phone, you do it by the internet, you do it on a computer, in any way. More than 60 courts looked at this around the country and said the election was not stolen. There was not any significant fraud that affected it at all. Sidney Powell and several of the other lawyers that represented Trump were fined a lot of money. They had to pay legal fees for the other side, and they've been referred for disbarment. And yet, nevertheless, Trump and the rest of them continue to send out emails, solicitations, phone calls, a lot of things. Send us money. We got to stop the steal. It was a stolen election. That's wire fraud. That's wire fraud. And the January 6th Commission is stepping up to the plate on that. And secondly, statute that I quoted earlier in this show, anybody who by action or inaction interferes with a congressional proceeding or the business of the Congress, that's a felony. Here they interfered with the certification by the Congress of the winner of the presidential election and the vice presidential election on November 3rd, 2020. By going there on January 6th, this was ceremonial. This was ceremonial. I mean, theoretically, they could have dressed Pence up as John Adams or something, have him there in, knee breeches or something and a wig and a three-corner hat. And okay, he's accepting the certifications. They bring it on a velvet pillow, I mean, it's not as bad, quite frankly, as the English, when they do a king, guy's sitting there and gets a crown, and people walk in backwards up and down stairs, the silver stick in waiting, the golden stick in waiting, the Rouge Dragon Pursuant, Maltravers Herald Extraordinary, this kind of stuff. We don't go that far. We don't go that. We didn't even dress up Pence as John Adams, okay? But that's all this is. What do you think, Brian?
We did ask him to wear a suit, though. Generally, a suit and tie
Yes, and wear clothing.
Required, but walking backwards, not so much.
Yeah. Well, this is America. We're a little more informal.
The people walking backwards that day were the Capitol Police, who were retreating. Because,
yeah, we're a little more informal in this country. However, that's all it was. It was a formality. The fact is that 50 secretaries of state and 50 governors had signed the certifications after 60 judges looked at it. What do you want? What more do you want out of these guys? So they're there, and Trump lathered up a mob to go up through violence to stop them, break windows. Some of them were armed. They had a gallows. How'd they build a gallows so quick if this wasn't planned?
Expert craftsmanship. That's the only explanation.
And this is, we still don't know who did it. 2 pipe bombs in front of the Democratic and Republican headquarters, 2 pipe bombs. And the only reason they didn't go off is this woman's walking her dog, and she walks along and she sees a weird thing. And she was going to walk by. She said, no, I better call the police. It was a pipe bomb. If she hadn't done that, it would have gone off. Then they realized we better look some more, and they found the other one. So look, Trump and his people, and no one's saying they put the pipe bombs there, because one of them was in front of the Republican headquarters too. But what it was that there are nihilists out there who were lathered up, and Trump got them, sends out save the date cards. Come here on January 6th. What's January 6th? Come here. And he gets up, and Giuliani gets up, and Mo Brooks gets up. Mo Brooks, right-wing congressman from Alabama, wore a bulletproof vest. He said they were just a bunch of guys having fun. When was the last time you went with a bunch of guys having fun to a poker game or something, and you wore a bulletproof vest? Why the guy wear a bulletproof vest? Because he wanted to stop a bullet. That's why he did it. And they go up there, and half of this crowd were just a bunch of jamokes who got lathered up, and they were misled. but some of them were reported as marching in military formation. This thing was planned in advance. Roger Stone at the Willard Hotel met with a bunch of people of the Oath Keepers. The Oath Keepers are this right-wing group. And Trump lathered them up. And he gets up there, gives a speech. He says, well, if Pence does the right thing, great. And if he doesn't, oh, well, oh, well. And they yell, hang Mike Pence. And Pence was going to do the wrong thing. And he called Dan Quayle. Dan Quayle, everybody thought was the dumbest vice president we ever had. Well, he wasn't that dumb. He said to Pence, are you out of your mind? Don't do this. What, you're going to ensure your own reelection as vice president just because you're going to reject this stuff and you think that's going to go down? No, that's not going to go down at all. So Pence chickened out. And because he chickened out, Trump says, go up there and, do something about it. And they go to hang him. If they had found him, if he'd been walking through the hallway, they would have killed him. If they had found Nancy Pelosi, they would have stomped her to death. These people were animals. These people were animals who were doing this stuff. And Trump, and I'm not talking, they weren't, half of them go, oh, well, there's this couple called the Bonnie and Clyde of MAGA. I don't know if you heard about them, the Bonnie and Clyde of MAGA, husband and wife team. They're all lathered up. They go up there and they are turning on Trump now. They're saying he betrayed us. He did not support us. We were told certain things. They weren't true. He was going to go up there with us. We thought this was on the up and up. And they didn't do it just to sneak out of a few days in jail or something on this deal. They are the MAGA Bonnie and Clyde. And a lot of his people felt betrayed by him. And the guy violated that statute. And you know something? So did Mo Brooks. And so did Rudy Giuliani. And so did Don Trump Jr. Don Trump Jr. gave a big speech there. Go up there and do some serious stuff. You're not going to preserve your country unless you do certain things. And they went up there. The January 6th commission, according to the New York Times sources, is seriously looking at this, and there's some stuff to back it up. Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney the other day read the statute into the record, read the statute that's a felony to interfere by action or inaction with a proceeding of the United States, and the certification of the president, the vice president, is a proceeding of the United States Congress. And the second thing is that Adam Kinzinger gave a statement the other day. And in that statement, he said, I haven't made up my mind whether Trump did this, but if he was giddy, that's the word he used. Yes, he was giddy in the White House that afternoon. And if he got them to do this, then he's got to pay the consequences. Anybody who ginned this thing up got to pay the consequences. And they're the two Republicans on the committee. And the chief of staff of the committee is a former Republican congressman from Virginia. And Pelosi offered Kevin McCarthy to appoint 5 Republicans to it. You know who he appointed first? Gymnasium Jim G.Y.M. Jordan of Ohio. Gymnasium Jim G.Y.M. Jordan of Ohio, who it turned out had planned the insurrection with Trump in the White House on previous days. He planned it. And this is the guy that McCarthy puts up, and Pelosi goes, no, I'm vetoing that. You're not going to do that. Then he realized that he was just going to put up the dreck. And so he said, oh, I'm not going to put up anybody if you are not putting up this distinguished congressman from Ohio and all this sort of stuff. I'll tell you what, he distinguished himself in the wrestling mat. That's it. And, here's a real weird little Wisconsin connection. Gymnasium Jim G.Y.M. Jordan was the NCAA champ at his weight. I think it was in the 130s somewhere for the University of Wisconsin. He went to Madison. How about that? How bad is that? I'm glad, we had a champ, not that champ. He's a champ in a different way, a very, very bad champ. So it looks as if they may do it. And if they refer Donald Trump in particular to Merrick Garland for prosecution, I got news for you. Joe Biden has to summon Merrick Garland to the White House and say, you had damn well better prosecute him or I'm making a change. Merrick Garland has been very, very inactive, very inactive. He's suing Texas and Georgia on some racial things, but all around the country, there are people putting in laws and they are putting, the Gableman thing, we're supposed to what? Turn over original things to Gableman? That's a violation of federal law. I think that Garland should be in here stopping that with injunction. He should have stopped Cyber Ninja in Arizona. Every time one of these people rear their ugly heads, they put in a bill that says we're going to let a partisan gerrymandered legislature count the votes. Remember something. Joseph Stalin, one of the biggest mass murderers in history, killed more than 20 million people, once said, "It doesn't matter who the people vote for. What matters is who counts the votes." That is very true. And that is what's going on right now. And if Voss and Gableman count the votes in this state, and if people like Voss and Gableman in the other states do it, there'll never be a Democratic president again. And they only have to do it in 6 states, only 6 states. Everybody knows how Alabama and California are going to go, just 6 states. And I'll tell you what, Merrick Garland better come correct with some respect. He better step up to the plate, or there needs to be a new attorney general. And he has to be told that by the president. Period. End of story. We're going to a break. Lines are still open, 844-967-2789. A lot more back after the break.
She went down to Arizona to visit the Ninja Turtles and came back really excited about what they're doing there.
You care for the house, the kids, and our future. A Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now. Get free tips to help boost your retirement savings. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
600,000 Wisconsin families are receiving checks to help take care of their kids thanks to the expanded child tax credit passed by Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Ron Johnson voted against these checks for Wisconsin families, despite voting for a 2017 tax break that put more money into the pockets of millionaires like himself. It's time to vote Ron Johnson out of office. MoveOn.org political action, paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Poll.moveon.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates. He would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it.
When your kid can't find the language, find the lyrics. Start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Spruce up your home with non-toxic vegan candles from Wisco Home Goods. I'm Don, one of the owners of this family-owned Midwestern business in Madison, Wisconsin. Our candles are 100% sustainable and come in a variety of unique blends and scents that make a perfect holiday gift. Plus, at Wisco Home Goods, we believe in giving back. With our Do Good, Smell Good campaign, a portion of the proceeds go to local charities. So support a Midwestern company that supports our local communities. Order now at wiscohomegoods.com.
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say it's all right.
When they go low, we get high. The Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to Devil Advocate. Lines are open, 844-967-2789. You know, just talking about how some states have changed laws that Garland should be putting a stop to. These are unconstitutional laws. Let me give you some deeper facts on that. There are 4 states, Missouri, Arizona, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. They filed at least 13 bills making it harder to vote. Much harder to vote, vote absentee, drop boxes, everything. There are 5 states, Florida, Missouri, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Tennessee. They put in a total of 6 bills to initiate or allow partisan ballot review. Partisan ballot review. That is already going to happen in Georgia as well, and a number of other states. What that means is in many of these, in Arizona and Georgia, 2 good examples in addition, the Secretary of State is not going to have the ability, because the Secretary of State is separately elected. So the Secretary of State could be a Democrat, or it could be a Republican who has to appeal to a statewide constituency. They're not going to have anything to do with it. And election commissions that are set up locally can be preempted. In Georgia, for example, they can be preempted. And the partisan legislature, the gerrymandered Republican legislature, can simply appoint agents or clerks to count them. Remember Stalin's dictum, it does not matter who the people vote for. What matters is who counts the votes. Stalin, the murderer, more than 20 million people. And what I'm afraid is about to happen, or could happen, is that they'll say, well, the old age homes, in this state, Voss has said that the Wisconsin Election Commission should be charged with felonies for permitting mailed ballots to old folks in old age homes. And what the basis of that was, there's a statute, there's a rule that says that where possible, election agents will carry them into the old folks. Well, during COVID, you couldn't carry them into the old folks. The guy's wife couldn't see her husband in the old age home. The husband couldn't see his wife. Kids couldn't see anybody. The grandparents, they held their nose up to the window to kiss the glass. So what happened was the election commission, 6 of them, 3 Republicans, 3 Democrats, say, all right, we can't go in, we're going to mail it. The mailman can go and drop it, and then the nurses inside can come and take it out. That's what they did. The Republicans sued. The Wisconsin Supreme Court said that was okay. That was okay. And what happened was Biden wins by 20,000 votes. Oh, it was the old folks. Something happened with the ballots in there. Therefore, put 5 of them in jail with felonies. That's going on here. That's going on. Obviously, if they're charged, that's going to be overturned, I would think. But you know something? 3 Republicans on the Supreme Court out of 7 wouldn't certify Joe Biden. They would put them in jail. The question is, would Brian Hagedorn, who, even though he's a Republican, is a swing vote on election issues? I assume he wouldn't. But why are we talking like this? Why do I even have to say these things? Why do I even have to say these things? And this is going to happen even worse in Texas, Georgia, Arizona, and these other states. There are 19 states in total, mostly dominated by Republicans. They've enacted 34 laws already that make it harder to vote. Why are they doing that? In the blue states, they're making it easier to vote. They're expanding access, absentee ballots, drop boxes. All of this is policed. It is scrutinized. It is audited. In some states like Oregon and Colorado, they have all mail-in ballots. Nothing wrong with that. The irony of all of this is when I was growing up, and at first in politics, absentee voters are mostly Republicans. They'd announce an election that was real close. They'd say it's too close to call. The Democrats ahead by 1,000 votes, but there are 5,000 absentee ballots out, and they're mostly Republican normally. That's what used to go on. Now the Republicans are saying it's the other way around. What this highlights is 2 things. One is we need HR 1 and SB 1. We need HR 1 and SB 1. We need voting reform. And this is not a deep stretch. This is not interfering with states' rights. This is the presidential election. That's not a state matter. This is the congressional election. That's a federal matter. House of Representatives and Senate. It would have gotten rid of gerrymandering. It would have had rules on absentee polling that were uniform. And it wouldn't be everything that I wanted even. But it wouldn't have been crooked like these Republicans are doing in these 19 states. Manchin wouldn't agree to bust the filibuster for one bill. Neither would Sinema, the 2 of them. All those 2 had to do was say that on this particular bill, there's no filibuster. That's all they have to do. They can do that by majority vote. Moscow Mitch did it. He did it for Supreme Court appointments. Do you think that Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett would have been, if they needed 10 Democratic votes, it wouldn't have happened? He busted it for that. And now he's laughing. He has said, this has been reported, I can't believe Schumer and Biden aren't getting rid of the filibuster for some of these things. And he laughed. Moscow Mitch laughed. And we're not doing it. We're not doing it. As a result, and Garland, if this were Bobby Kennedy, he would go around the country filing lawsuits at the real nub of this stuff. No, you're not going to count presidential votes on original ballots, and you're not going to count Senate and House of Representative votes by these crooked laws. We'll have the National Guard go in. You know something? Eisenhower federalized the National Guard when Alabama wouldn't use them to protect black kids going to the university. Biden can federalize the National Guard. They are then under his command. You go in and you administer this election. Nobody's talking like this. Nobody's doing this stuff. It has to be done. If it is not done, you're going to have real doubt as to the elections. And that is the start of the attack on the peaceful transition of power. And it hits at the nub of our democracy. Going to a break. Line's still open, 844-967-2789. A lot more back after the break.
It's all right. It's all right.
Hey, you want to get high, man?
This is the defining challenge of our time.
Talk it out, man.
Do it now.
Here's how you get them. If they bring a beer, you bring an old-fashioned. If they bring cheese curds, you bring a casserole. That's how you make friends. That's the Wisconsin way. That's Devil Radio.
Pat Slattery here of Slattery's Automotive Service. Winter's coming, and that means now's the time for you to start thinking about snow tires. Travel winter roads with ease on Hakkapeliitta snow tires. Hakkapeliitta is the top-of-the-line snow tire, made in Finland and eco-friendly. If it's snowing, they'll get you there. Give me a call at 608-848-6123 to get yours set. Slattery's Automotive Service, your trusted choice for local service and repairs for all your automotive needs.
At Chad's Design Build, our tagline is building a better world, one remodeled home at a time. Simply stated, we want to be a part of the solution to leave the world better than we found it. That's why we've invested in a 20 kilowatt solar array, which provides over 90% of our electrical demand at our shop, office, and design studio. And that's why we invest in local causes which provide opportunities and which confront structural inequality. At Chad's Design Build, we are proud to partner with you, building a better world, one remodeled home.
Focus on testing with COVID cases spiking. I'm Jackie Quinn with an AP News Minute. President Biden today outlined his plans for dealing with the explosion in COVID cases from the highly contagious Omicron variant. He says
The federal government will purchase 1/2 billion, that's not million, billion with a B, additional at-home rapid tests with delivery starting in January.
the federal government will also open more testing and more vaccination clinics and send hundreds more troops to help hospitals. At Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, Dr. Amish Aldalja says almost everyone will get the virus. It's whether or not you're vaccinated that will make the difference.
It's going to be mild.
An Idaho man's been charged with cannibalism after a killing in September. Court documents show suspect James Russell believed he could cure his brain by consuming part of his victim. Stocks rallied today, the Dow up 560 points. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Ugh, my stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. On Monday, the UW Board of Regents voted to increase salary ranges for the system's top leaders between 5% and 32%, a move that the board says will give it more negotiating power in searching to fill two high-profile positions, the next UW system president and the next UW-Madison chancellor. Wisconsin Assembly Democrats elected new leadership yesterday after Minority Leader Gordon Hintz and Assistant Minority Leader Diane Hesselbein announced last week they would be stepping down from the leadership roles. Representative Greta Neubauer, age 30, ran unopposed for Assembly Minority Leader, and Representative Kalen Haywood, age 22, was elected to the position of Assistant Minority Leader on the first ballot. Reps Neubauer and Haywood were both recently elected to the state assembly and will now lead an overall younger caucus of Assembly Democrats. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM, WTTN 1580 AM.
The Devil's Advocates, never personal, only politics.
Blinded by the lights, wrapped up like a douche into the
Welcome
room.
to the Devil Advocates. Matt Flynn sitting in for Crudy while he's gone. Lines are open, 844-967-2789. I want to talk about a guy I know well who is unjustifiably under attack, and I'm tired of the defense of him. The way it's done is real weak, and I want to give you the full facts. The district attorney in Milwaukee County is named John Chisholm. I know him well. I've known him for a long time. He's one of the finest people I've ever met. He is the best DA in this state. He's one of the best district attorneys in the country. He's a man of unnegotiable integrity, former Army officer. He's absolutely by the book, most honest guy I have ever met that you will ever meet. We had a tragedy a couple of weeks ago. This guy, is a criminal, ran down the Waukesha Christmas parade, killed many people, wounded others. It was disgusting. He is a criminal. He will be going to prison for life. We got rid of the death penalty in Wisconsin in the 1850s, which is the right thing to do. But if we hadn't, if he were in another state, he would get it. He's bad, very bad. The bail that he was given, he was on, he was pending charges in other cases, and he was let out on bail of $1,000, which is a decision made by a junior prosecutor, fairly new to the game, who had two things that were tough. One is the full risk assessment report was not provided to the court when she gave that. And number two, she was juggling a lot of other felonies, and she realized he'd been given low bails for his other stuff, which was much more minor. Although in one case, he tried to ram his former wife or the mother of his child anyway with his car. In any event, the bail was $1,000. His mother, whom he'd threatened to kill, posted it, and he got out. And then he was out in Waukesha, and he came on the parade route trying to get away from the cops and went through it. It was terrible, disgusting thing that he did. John Chisholm handled it perfectly and honestly. Got up and he said it was a mistake. This was a junior prosecutor who did that. That should not have happened. Should have been a higher bail. And by the way, even when it's a higher bail, if people find people to post it, they get out anyway. And I am going to investigate this and correct it. Immediately, and this is a very curious thing, not all Republicans, because he has a tremendous reputation, some Republicans say, oh, well, we got to get rid of him. And they said that. And they said that to the governor. They said it to the attorney general. And the response in defense of Chisholm was so weak and stupid as well. Nobody's filed a complaint from Milwaukee yet. Hey, look, guys, Milwaukee has 1 million people in it. You think you say something like that and some idiot isn't going to come out and file a complaint just for the heck of it? Well, what happened was there was a complaint. A guy named Orville Seymour. Orville Seymour in Milwaukee is a right-wing gadfly activist. He's been involved in issues for a long time. And he puts in a complaint. Says, Governor, remove the district attorney. And he has 6 co-signers, except they didn't put their addresses down. Nobody of any substance in Milwaukee has filed any kind of complaint. But now the governor has to do something. When the attorney general was asked for comment, he said, well, it's up to the voters. And the governor noted that, and I think he's going to say, no, I'm not going to remove him. It's up to the voters. That's weak. That's stupid. That's not enough. The correct answer is this is the best DA in the state, one of the best in the country, a man of unnegotiable integrity, absolute honesty, one of the best DAs in the history of Milwaukee. And no, I'm not going to remove him. And I got another message right now to the Republican Party. Go ahead, put up a Republican hack against him. See what he gets. He's not going to get Schneider. If you know what that is, learn to play sheep's head. And let me tell you something else. The Republicans are afraid too. They'd like to say something, but Chisholm is so strong and so good. You know, it's not easy being a DA. There are a lot of DAs in that office. There's some counties in this state that'll have the DA and one other. This is a large law office. Sadly, in a large urban area, there are a lot of cases. So the GOP put out the most mealy-mouthed, weak release I've ever read in my life. They don't even mention Chisholm. They don't ask for his recall. They're afraid to, and I'll tell you why. They go, well, you know, Evers should crack down on crime. Well, yeah, he should crack down on crime. There should be an investigation of Gableman and Voss. That would be cracking down on crime. The 1-6 committee is cracking down on crime. That's what he should do. The reason they didn't do that is there is nobody in Milwaukee who has the ability or the guts to run against Chisholm because he is so good and they are so bad. And there's no Republican hack that's going to run against him and get Schneider. We go to the lines. Brian, we have somebody in the line?
Yeah, we got Mark from the Sac. How you doing, Mark?
Mark from the Sac, my friend. Thanks for calling. What's on your mind today, Mark from the Sac?
Okay. Well, it's interesting. I mean, the Republicans are got it in for John Chisholm because he went after Scott Walker when Scott Walker violated the law. Scott Walker violated the law not once but twice,
Right.
by multiple times. The first John Doe investigation should have tossed Scott Walker's ass in jail. But I mean that, and let's look at Mr. What is James O'Keefe, or is it Eric O'Keefe that got? It was a raid that went to his house, and they arrested him for some kind of fraud charges or related to that kind of thing. And I was one of the guys going after, with this operation, what Project Veritas.
Right.
So supposedly meaning truth, they don't tell the truth at all. I mean, but they hate John Chisholm anyway. So, I mean, that we need to stand up for him. I mean, Evers needs to come out and strongly stand up for him.
You hit the nail on the head. And you know something, I want to raise what you just said and give a few more facts. When they were investigating John Chisholm, and that was being investigated by the U.S. Attorney, and not John Chisholm and Scott Walker, they were investigating him at the U.S. Attorney's office and the Milwaukee DA's office for coordinating with his campaign committee. His campaign committee was coordinating with donors who are supposed to be independent. There's a limit that you can give, but you can exceed that limit as long as there was no coordination. That was the law at the time. And there were clearly communications going back and forth. That was a felony. So when they got close to him, was that the gerrymandered legislature and the state Supreme Court, the Republican majority, changed the law. They changed the law and said, you can't coordinate. And that got him off. But you're right. They don't like Chisholm. But let me tell you something. To the Republican Party, stay the hell out of Milwaukee County. And I'm telling you that. You put up a hack, and I know the hacks that you might put up, they will not get Schneider. And that's why in this release, they didn't mention Chisholm. They go, Evers should get crime under control. The Republican Party should get crime under control. In their own party, they should get Trump under control. That's what they should do. And I want Democrats. I want Evers and Call, not going, oh, that's up to, no. We know, we want to know your opinion. John Chisholm is the best DA in the state, one of the best in the country, best in Milwaukee's history, one of the best in Milwaukee's history. We're lucky to have him. He ain't going anywhere. So there you have that. Now, to show that I am open-minded, I'm going to praise a Republican, Kathy Bernier of Chippewa County. Kathy Bernier of Chippewa County in the legislature said Gableman should go. She said, I was a clerk. Kathy Bernier was a clerk in Chippewa County for about 15 years. She administered a lot of elections. She knows the people who administer them up in Chippewa County. Agnes, and Edna and Mabel and Berta and that kind of thing. She knows that they are honest. She knows that Gableman and Voss are full of it. They're full of it. Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, I appreciate Kathy Bernier for coming out and saying something. It's about time and everything. But again, where have you been? Where have you been? Where was all this? This is not like it just came out of nowhere. Where have you been?
Well, you're right. Look, but the thing is better late than never. And look, the fact is,
take it.
she and Liz Cheney and Kinzinger, you can say you differ on this, that, and the other issue. That took guts. And she had a number of colleagues. Kathy Bernier had a number of colleagues that have called her up. And they said, thank you for doing that. They're all afraid of Trump. And Gableman is only there because of Trump. I don't know if people remember this, but Voss, Trump attacked him at the Republican convention. Trump was not at the Republican convention last year in Wisconsin, but he put out and he undercut Voss. Voss was on a plane ride with him, trying to suck up to him. And he goes, Voss, the leadership isn't doing the job. You have this guy Capenga in the Brookfield there in Waukesha County. Talk about subservient. You know what he did? He sent a message to Trump saying, your presence in the press is like Thor's hammer and mine is but a bobby pin. Now, what guy says that?
Who says that?
Capenga, not Kabanga.
The same people who put up
Capenga, okay?
They fly flags the same height as the United States flag with the guy's name on it. And they call themselves Christians, and they literally made a gold statue to this guy.
No, right. The Orange Frankenstein. Look, here's the deal. Capenga said, I wear socks with your pictures on them. What guy says he wears an article of clothing with another guy's picture on him?
Why?
That's sick. Right. He says he's a bobby pin. Why is he in the legislature? Get out. Let's put somebody in there that has some backbone. All I'm saying is Kathy Bernier stood up. Capenga didn't stand up. Voss didn't stand up. He hired Gableman, and he originally lied, and he said it was for 44 grand of taxpayer money. That's what he said. And he was going to pay some guerrillas, some retired cops, a couple of grand, and that was it. No. Now it's 676 grand, and that is movable. And Voss says he doesn't read the invoices, so he doesn't release the invoices. And the people that were involved, one of them is the chairman of the Kewaunee County Republican Party, who sued to overturn the election already. And this guy is involved in a cyber ninja deal. And where's Garland? For God's sake. Hey, Merrick, where's Garland? Are we supposed to do this on our own? Come on. And so here's the deal. Kathy Bernier gets up. She goes, I was a clerk. I know these people. They're honest. This is killing the party. Stop it. Other legislators say the same thing. What they're afraid of is that Trump goes in and intimidates them like Capenga. But some of them have got to push back and say, who the hell are you? This is more than one dude. That's what Ben Sass of Nebraska did, a Republican. Trump attacked Ben Sass for something or other, and he goes, hey, we're more than one dude, and the Nebraska Republican Party backs down. I think that if there are more Kathy Berniers in the state, if they go, hey, Trump, get out of here, and Voss and Gableman, knock it off. This is the Republican Party. This used to be the party of people like Warren Knowles and Tommy Thompson, Dwight Eisenhower in the old days. I mean, yeah, they were Republicans. But Lee Dreyfus, what happened? Walker happened is what happened. That's what happened. Walker happened. That's bad. Very, very bad. And now we got what? Trump and these key people are all caving in. They crumple like a cheap suit. Why are they doing this? Where's the guts? Where's the manhood in the Republican Party? Why are you saying that you're a bobby pin to his Thor's hammer? Why are you saying you wear socks with his pictures on them? Why are you servile to him the way he's servile to Putin? Why is Ron Johnson going, I don't trust the FBI and the CIA because I trust Trump? And he doesn't trust the FBI and the CIA. Why is Ron Johnson saying that, mouthwash and gargle will cure COVID and don't get the vaccine? Why are they saying these stupid things? Why are they saying these super things? Why is ivermectin, which is an anti-worm medication for horses and cows, going to stop it? People inject it in their veins. It hurts them badly. Why are they doing all this stuff? Why are they mimicking Trump? Why are they afraid of Trump? Why do they have no manhood? The fact of the matter is that Kathy Bernier is the only one that stood up. And I applaud her. I have a lot of respect for her for doing that. And Liz Cheney, the same thing. And Adam Kinzinger, the same thing. And we need more. That's not enough. They're not high ranking enough. We need a lot more people doing that kind of thing. And they are not doing it right now. Going to a break. Lines are still open. 844-967-2789. A lot more back after the break.
Hey, it's Thor again. You know, the god of thunder?
Oh, Thor, mighty god of thunder.
Who is this kid? So you guys want a drink? What are we drinking? Got beer, tequila, all sorts. Wine.
Plenty of people start something great in their 40s and 50s. Getting your retirement savings on track is no different. Go to aceyourretirement.org, and in 3 minutes, you'll get personalized tips to help boost your retirement savings. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
600,000 Wisconsin families are receiving checks to help take care of their kids, thanks to the expanded child tax credit passed by Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Ron Johnson voted against these checks for Wisconsin families, despite voting for a 2017 tax break that put more money into the pockets of millionaires like himself. It's time to vote Ron Johnson out of office. MoveOn.org political action, paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Poll.moveon.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates.
Yeah, Door County Don on the line.
Hi, Don from Wisco Home Goods here. Jeremy and I handcraft our 100% non-toxic candles from locally sourced materials in our Madison, Wisconsin facility. Wisco Home Goods candles come in a variety of unique blends and scents that you're sure to love. Add a little warmth to your home as the days get colder with one of our Midnight Cypress or Up North candles. Order at wiscohomegoods.com. Natural, healthy, nourishing candles and more at wiscohomegoods.com.
Like build a rocket and watch it soar, clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstead of the Minocqua Brewing Company, and I'm excited to announce our new beer, AOC IPA. This IPA pays homage to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a champion of the progressive movement. AOC IPA will be available by Monday, December 20th, right before Christmas. Check our website, MinocquaBrewingCompany.com, to see which stores in your area are carrying it.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. The Devil's Advocates.
Why not gargle?
Welcome back to the Devil Advocate. Lines are still open, 844-967-2789. Brian, do we have somebody in the line?
Yeah, we got Door County Don on the line.
Welcome, my friend. What's on your mind today?
Good evening, sir. I met you up in Egg Harbor with the 7 or 8 people who were primarying for governor a couple of years ago here.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
That was a fun afternoon. On my mind today, our state representative, Joel Kitchens, had his monthly appearance on local radio, and I called in with a question on Senate Bill 250, the rank choice voting for U.S. congressional candidates in Wisconsin, limited only to the federal elections and not to the state elections. So he kind of spilled the beans in answering my question, and this is my reading on it, that what he said was, this will give a more fair chance for candidates from both parties in the highly partisan districts in Wisconsin. And I know he and Senator Coles would be referring to better Republican chances in the Democratic strongholds around the state. So that's the first point, and you can elaborate on it later, but I think that's why they're introducing State Senate Bill 250. The more important point is neither party in the U.S. Congress or the U.S. Senate is calling out Joe Biden on the continuation of the Trump policy that is for 10 years torturing and now attempting to assassinate Julian Assange for being a publisher, which Obama, to his credit, refused to do because he would have had to take out the same legal action against every major newspaper publisher in the country at the time for publishing the same U.S. war crime information that WikiLeaks did. So here we are assassinating Julian Assange through isolation, and and we've been torturing him for close to 10 years now. So I'll leave it there. I can hear better listening to your response on the computer rather than my telephone line here. So thanks for listening to that. And there's a couple topics maybe for further exploration when there's more time at the end after the tomorrow. Thanks.
You bet. Yeah. Listen, thanks for calling. And two fascinating topics. Let me hit them very quickly, one at a time. When it comes to ranked choice voting, to be very honest with you, I'm not a fan of it. A lot of people say they are. If you took a look at it, they had it in New York, for instance, in the mayoral race, and the results really turn out the same. It's a very rare case where it makes a bit of difference at all. Secondly, in primaries especially, people are very keen on it. In a general election where you just have a Republican and a Democrat, unless it's very close and there's like a green or a right, like one other candidate, it's not going to make any difference at all. There are very few bills that any Republican would put in that I would agree with, and nothing having to do with elections. And Julian Assange, here's my view on this guy. We didn't torture him for 10 years. What he did is he hid out in the Ecuadorian embassy in Merrill, England, in London, and then the Swedes were going to extradite him for sexual assault. Then they said, well, they didn't know that they had enough evidence, so they released him. And then we put in an extradition request, and it went up to a bunch of courts in Britain, and then they extradited him. So he's coming here. He's not going to be summarily anything. It's going to be a trial. It's going to be a jury trial, and he can raise all the issues that you mentioned on First Amendment and all that. But, you remember the Pentagon Papers. I'm old enough to remember them back in the early 70s. And there is a certain First Amendment license. But when it comes to theft and conspiracy, the New York Times in that one did not conspire to steal this information. Julian Assange, he's from Australia, and he was known as a hacker and all that kind of stuff over there. With Chelsea Manning was a soldier and betrayed the country. Chelsea Manning, this would be what she did. Before then, it was what he did. Betrayed the country, and he funneled stuff to Julian Assange, and that was published with tremendous damage to the United States militarily and in foreign policy. Now, he didn't just turn over the New York Times. Julian Assange and he actively conspired about how he's going to do it. That's a difference. What he will undoubtedly do in his trial, and he'll claim Pentagon Papers, but a good prosecutor will present the other, and the jury will make up their mind. That's my view on it. I personally would convict him, and I would convict him pretty quickly. Yeah, Brian, anybody else on the line?
Yeah, we have Andrew from Detroit.
Andrew from Detroit, my friend. We have a little bit of time here before the end of the show. What's on your mind today?
I have a quick question about Merrick Garland. I, as many Democrats, are very dissatisfied with Merrick Garland as our Attorney General, but I don't think Biden can really ask him to prosecute. That would be as bad as what Trump did with his Attorney Generals. I believe Merrick Garland has to come out and make a statement about what he's doing without really revealing too much about what he's doing. But all Biden can really do is a vote of no confidence. Am I right with that?
No. Here's the thing. Biden made a big deal of differentiating himself from Trump, saying, I'm not going to tell him what to do. And Merrick Garland posed for holy pictures, and he's going, oh, I'm my own man and all that. That's all well and good. Your Attorney General has to be your right-hand person, believe me. And Biden absolutely can get him in there and say, Merrick, I think this guy should be prosecuted. What do you say? And Merrick says, no, I can't, and I won't. And here's why. And there's a legal basis, and Biden's a lawyer too. And so, fine. That's not the case here. This will be a bipartisan committee referring him for prosecution. When he gets that, Biden absolutely can say to him, what, you think that Liz Cheney, who went to the University of Chicago Law School, doesn't know what she's doing? You think Adam Schiff, Harvard, doesn't know what he's doing? What is it that you think is different? And if he gives him an answer and Biden believes it, great. If Biden doesn't believe it, he absolutely can say to him, Look, I appointed you to do a job, not to take a dive. You're not just warming the seat here because you want to be in the Supreme Court and this looks good on your resume and you're going to make nice with everybody and hope everybody loves you. They don't love you. They really don't love you. And absolutely. And if he said no and Biden thought that he had made a mistake and done wrong, get him in. And the guy that I like is this guy, I think it was Goldman, Danny Goldman. He was the prosecutor in one of the impeachment. He's excellent. I put him right away. Coming to the end of the show, I'll tell you what, it's been a great show. Really enjoyed this. Some great call-ins, as always. Stand by for some great programming. My friend Earl Ingram, great show, great evening program. Saturday of great weekend programming, headlined by Pizza Box Mike. This is Matt Flynn sitting in for Mike Crute. Devil's Advocate will be back same time, same place tomorrow.
I swear I hear a singing our song. The devil, baby, singing.
No religion, no anything. Hurt the Bible, hurt God. But other than that, I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas.
Well, see you later.
Knucklehead CBD and Vapes isn't just Wisconsin's go-to destination for the best deals from Milwaukee to Madison. It's also your one-stop shop to wrap up your holiday shopping this giving season. Whether it's for family, friends, neighbors, work gift exchange,